There's beauty in ruins. You can find beauty in, or hope or happiness in sad, dark, hard moments. I always had an interest in art, and after graduation from econ, there was this void that I don't know how, but very organically was able to fill with photography. I bought a camera, started taking simple pictures, but then the experimentation with that took me to steps after that, and ended up really being interested in working with doing works on papers, collages. So photography was kind of a gateway to an art career. So at some point I would work on old photographs that I had found at antique shops or flea markets, and then do these collage work on them. The process would end up very much deal with a trajectory and a transition to past, coming to present. There was one that I'm still working on. It's a story-based series. I'm reminiscing and trying to remember stories, very personal ones with my mother during the revolution in Iran, the war as well. So I go back and remember, as a woman who's now around her age, how would she do it? We moved to this house that one of the reasons was that I could have this studio space. I would say maybe there are still some boxes that were not open. The studio definitely was just about to be ready. I had just put a table in it and put stuff on the walls. And the hurricane happened. Harvey happened.
Catastrophic, life-threatening flooding. That is the concern in the U.S. state of Texas after Hurricane Harvey, now a tropical storm, makes its way inland.
The water came up for a long time, and there was just water kept coming, so there wasn't enough time for the water to drain or to move or any of that. We did a lot of things. We moved things from around the windows. So we did a lot of preparation, but it wasn't the right or enough preparation, perhaps. Then we came back, and then there was still water in the neighborhood, in the bayou, in the ravine. We couldn't go downstairs to the studio at all until Labor Day, which is when the demolition crew came and they had to break in. I was extremely stressed out about seeing the destruction. The floodwater was very different. It was very dirty. It was very assaulting in a way because of the smell, and it's muddy because of all the debris and walls and everything that had come down. The demolition guys knocked at the studio door out. I just said, oh my God, wow. My father passed unexpectedly. Now it's 10 years, but it's an ongoing sense of loss and nostalgia and missing and everything. Again, the stack is there. My photo of my dad and mine is on top of it. There's kind of catastrophic sense of loss and destruction, yet there are all these snaps. All good, everybody looks good, you're happy, you're smiling, it's the happy moment. And I suddenly used that as a tool to be able to go through that. I had an option now. I had a choice of going completely devastated. But also I had the option of rescuing and salvaging and enjoying and reminiscing and all that. So I took the second option, which was also more healing. One thing that really suits my heart in now thinking back is the demolition guys. But they kept looking at me, and there was a conversation, like a silent conversation going on in a way too. And they sympathized with it. They allowed me to take my time and do, like I would place photos in certain ways and shoot them. Or it was just a moment of human understanding. The family photographs were particularly hard to lose because they're not digitized, so they're all, they were filmed because they're older. The things that it is sad, it was the letters. My grandmother, for example, who's passed when we moved, my son and I moved to the US, wrote a lot of letters to us, and her letters are very descriptive. They're like diaries.
پنجشنبه 16 فروردین 5 آوریل آویشه بسیار عزیزم قربانت میروم الان 3 بعد از ظهر است آسمان دیروز از شمال برگشته یک فامیلی بزرگ شکلات و گل به سهیلا یک بسته.
So this is the first floor, street level. A lot of water did come from the street, through the garage, through the entrance door. There is another level downstairs and a level upstairs. Upstairs was completely fine. It's the one downstairs that was completely drowned, I would say. This was the studio. That's the door that they had to actually break in to come in. It was inundated in water all the way to the ceiling for a good 10 days after the flood. I mean, the water started coming down, but there's photos where the water is up to 5 feet probably a week after the floods. All the outside was filled with water. It was really like a pool or a lake or something like that. So the water couldn't leave this room until the bayou and the ravine and everything drained enough for this water to get out. So a lot of the photographs were transformed into these messy, colorful images for two reasons: the water and mud and everything, and also the photographic emulsion itself. All of that chemical came off, and the interaction of all this, which is very smelly, created some really visually intriguing images. So I shared them on my Instagram, and people went crazy for them. They love that you have this intriguing, nice, abstract, artistic imagery coming out of total destruction and damaging events. So that's when I thought, it's not just me, it actually has a visual benefits and quality and value. Some of them, it's just the color composition is very interesting, but it's also that, oh wow, you can have something beautiful out of garbage, or something that you would, first instinct is to throw it away. So I think it has a story behind it. So the plan is to just show these very interesting images, as they're really interesting in and of themselves.
I met Avisheh a couple of years ago. I didn't realize that she was a very bona fide, internationally exhibited artist. But then I got to know her over time and learned all that. After the hurricane, she invited me over to her house, and I saw all the photographs spread out across the floor. And I immediately saw their potential as art. I think the body of work that she created out of them is utterly exceptional and could hold up to the best contemporary art.
I was very cognizant and wary about the fact that I was the lucky one given the amount of damage relative to other people. So we were sure that we were going to have a show. I didn't want it to make this glorified exhibit, but to give back to people to have not had the opportunity or to photograph these things and put them on a pedestal. So we're donating parts of the proceeds of here to Houston's Arts Alliance that are working on relief and how to deal with disasters. I'm very happy about that. I hope I can do a good sum. In the last 12 months exactly from the floods to today, I'm expecting.
Harvey definitely was a big surprise for us. At first, I didn't quite understand what she was doing in the beginning. But as time went on, I started to realize some of her views on the whole situation. And I have to be honest with you, I became more and more interested, and then eventually I became a big fan of what had happened to the work and how it transformed. Now that we are having a baby very soon, I think it'll be a little fable or tale that I can maybe tell her when she's born, and she can look back at, you know, all the images and videos and talks, and now the exhibition that's taking place, which is really the culmination of this last year, I think is an incredible bookend to this story. So all in all, I'm really grateful, actually, for the opportunity of having gone through this and having had other parts of my life sort of be layered in between and on top of this.
Flood or a natural disaster did bring all the ceilings and the walls down, not on me, but on things that I cherished and kept. There's destruction, there's sadness or whatever, there's negative things, but there's always something either funny or good or worth paying attention to.
What Harvey did and what Avisheh, I have to say, has really highlighted for me is the importance of really taking whatever happens in life, embracing it, bringing it in, and turning it into something that actually becomes something positive for you. And I think that's really, to me, the crux, the whole point of her exhibition here is how you can take events and turn around and make it into something beautiful, something inspiring, and something that could actually even help others.
Last year, this time, were we thinking about having a baby even?
We were thinking about it, but we didn't think that a year later you'd be
2 months
you'd have
before.
this.